Welcome to another episode of You Are the Prize. Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. And it is actually morning here today.
It is morning and it's stunning. I mean, aside from the lights that we have in here, the light pouring through the kitchen is gorgeous.
Yeah, I know. Feel good.
I feel great.
Yeah.
I feel like a change is coming.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's that feel like?
I don't know, just different.
Yeah.
It's like waking up and instead of having a weighted blanket on me, there's just a fitted sheet.
Ooh.
There's just the like flat sheet.
The flat sheet, yeah.
So it doesn't feel like, oh my God, I have to get out of bed. It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna like
Just
hop off and get ready to start the day.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, I was listening to Beyonce this morning.
Oh, nice. Which
Yeah.
album?
Homecoming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
'Cause
good. Oh, yeah.
I'm the house dog sitting and they have this huge sound system. And so I was like pretending that I was at the top of the pyramid at Coachella.
Oh, I like
was
it.
great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a great way to start
They have
the day.
stairs too in their place. So I should probably try like walking down the stairs like Beyonce.
Yes. Every day. I mean, I would do that every day.
Totally.
Yeah. That's great. That's a great way to start the day. I always
Yeah.
turn on music as soon as I wake up. It does kind of like,
I like ebb and flow, but yeah, it is. Yeah. What's your music? Do you have a song in the morning every morning, or do you just listen to whatever?
whatever, unless I have a song that I go to that's like if you ever want to get really pumped up, You Get What You Give by the New Radicals.
Yeah.
Is true.
Yeah.
It's like that is an anthem.
Yeah,
When he starts singing real fast about
totally.
like
Everything going on in the world right now.
yeah, and you're like, oh no, we haven't moved forward at all.
No.
But yeah, that's like kind of if I want to like kick the door down
Yeah.
to start the day. Yeah.
That was also just such a good time period in life.
I know. Everyone's nostalgic for just any time but now.
Yeah. What's making you feel like the prize this week?
You know, and I've decided I'm ready to get vulnerable with all of you. And what is feeling good to me right now is I let go of a relationship with somebody who I really liked. And it was just not it.
Mm-hmm.
It was not the right fit. We just had different values. And it's sad. It's sad to end a relationship that's like almost there.
Yeah.
And it's been 2 weeks and I'm on the other side of it, and there's freedom to returning to yourself
Sure.
and being like, I would always rather be single than be in a relationship that is not working.
Isn't that such an affirming feeling that there's relief on the other end?
Yeah.
Because leading up to it, there's days and weeks and, depending on how long it is, months of fretting over, am I going to do this? Is this right? Da, da, da. And there's nothing like that feeling of coming out of it and being like, granted, you might have a day or two of like crying and purging, but coming out of it and feeling like, oh yeah, this was the right decision.
Yeah.
You trusted yourself.
Yeah. And I have really been trying to pay attention to all the stuff that we're always saying of, what does it feel like in your body?
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that what it was feeling like in my body when I was in his life is a mismatch.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't bad, but it was just feeling like, oh, we don't want to create the same kind of life. There is like, it's a misalignment.
Yeah.
And I think in years past, in previous relationships, I have pushed those feelings aside is one tactic. Another is and stayed too long. Or I like get really angry about it and I'm like, oh, fuck this person and this, all of this. And they're like, just bad and wrong and not up to my level, and you can get kind of indignant. And I'm really trying to practice this, like, we're just not aligned. And that can be enough to move on. It doesn't have to be like somebody did something really bad. Like, to wait for something bad to happen is a real waste of time. Yeah.
But also to look for something to justify your decision.
Yeah.
More than just, it just didn't feel right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to, like, the person doesn't have to be bad or wrong. It just was not a right match.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. Well,
Gift-
before we get too deep into
gift
all of
receipt,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What's making you feel like the prize today other than dancing to be, I assumed you danced because you put on Beyonce.
I did. There was, yes, there was
At
a
least a
full-length
wiggle.
mirror moment. Yeah, there was, yeah. I am going to Palm Springs this weekend. There is, I have great friends, and there were four of us who used to do this annual Christmas onesie thing.
Seen the photos.
You've seen the photos. It's just pure joy to be an adult and be wearing literal onesie at Christmas. Anyway, our really good friend passed away. I guess it will be two years ago in August. And one of the other things that we used to always do is a red dress party in Los Angeles. And so this year, kind of in honor of him, we're doing that party, but it's a huge one in Palm Springs. And so over the last couple weeks, I've been dusting off my breastplate and,
Still need to get one.
you know, coming up with a look for all three of us and, you know, buying their dresses and being like, you need to buy this and get the wig and do this. And it's just, I'm just ecstatic and so excited
You're the team stylist.
to be the team stylist. And I can't wait.
Oh, I
It's
can't
Saturday.
wait to see the photos.
It's going to be the hottest day in Palm Springs in like years. And I'll
How
be
hot
in.
is the hottest day in
I
Palm
think
Springs?
it's going to be like in the high tens, like 110s, something.
Great.
But I'll be in a red latex
Oh no.
dress and thigh-high latex boots and my breastplate and a wig.
You better stay hydrated.
Hydrated, and I'll have a fan with me.
Oof. Okay, great.
Yeah, it'll be so fun. Oh my God, I can't wait.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I feel like the prize just listening to you talk about that. Like, I still need to get a breastplate.
Yeah.
All right, so back to grief.
Yeah.
Because that's where we're going today. We have talked a lot about, like, there is this feeling when things change, and, like, especially when the change is in theory supposed to be a good thing. Leveling up, changing a career, moving on from something that wasn't working. You're supposed to just, like, just dust your hands off and go.
Yeah.
But there's the unexpected grief that comes from things changing.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've been surprised by it, where I feel so solid in a decision that I've made, and yet there is loss.
Yeah.
Because you're in a different place, you're in different rooms, there's different people.
Yeah.
And it isn't all celebration. But I think we're told that everything is upside.
Yeah.
Keep moving forward. But if you don't take the time for the grief and to process what you've actually let go of, I think it sticks with you. And then you've got this, like, heaviness that maybe you can't name, but you're like, why doesn't this feel as light as I thought I would feel making this big change that I feel so confident in?
Yeah. Well, it is the death of it. First of all, we have a terrible relationship with grief.
Yeah.
I think just as a society.
Yeah.
And it is a death. It's a death of a relationship. It's a death of, you know, a career timeline. Even if it's good, it still is saying, thank you, but I'm moving on now. And that just it's like just innately, there's residue there that just kind of, and then if you hear a song that triggers you, or, you know, or something, and then you're kind of taken back to this, especially I think if it's a relationship and that person isn't actually, like, physically gone.
Right.
And so then there's this weird knowing that they're still there, but you're not
A part of their life
part of their
anymore.
life, or vice versa. Or if it's a job and you know, a lot of your friends are still there, and coworkers are some of the strongest, even if they're 9-to-5 bonds sometimes, they're still some of the strongest bonds because you're with them for so long. And so you see the team is out at lunch, and it's like, oh, that commiserating.
Yeah, you know what it feels like, and now you're not a part of it. And there is there is grief to that, but I think we don't let ourselves feel it because it sounds so silly. It's like, well, you made the choice,
Yeah.
you left the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember that from like when I left corporate. I'm a very social person.
Yeah.
That's the part that is very different about freelancing
Yeah.
or like starting your own thing is that you spend a lot more time alone.
Yeah.
And I made that initial transition in 2020. So we all were in this weird alone time, but a lot of people have gone back to this, more of the structure of being in an office and
Yeah.
having lunches and going on shoots and like all of these things that I'm not doing
Yeah.
anymore. And it was so much the fabric of my day to day. And I think, when I left Apple, I was so ready to go. I was like, and it's sometimes a shame that like we leave things when they're like, I'm so done. I'm so over this. But it's like also it was one of the best times in my career. But if I spend too much time thinking about the good parts, then I start to question myself of like, well, why did you do this? How dare you think that you could go have a life that's as stimulating, as validating on your own without all these amazing people.
But
like,
we needed the good times to justify the terrible times.
Yes.
And so like, of course they're on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Because that's what you look to like get through the day.
Yeah.
But that's not.
It's never the whole story. It's never all good or all bad. And I think that's where it's like, this is why grief, I think, is so complicated because sometimes there is like sadness that you don't want to feel.
Yeah.
And I think it's easier to say goodbye when you're angry, when it's actually, you can't go back there. It's just like, it is like the black and white, like this is done, this is whatever, but it's when you've made the choice. It's like, well, then you shouldn't be sad because you've made the choice.
Yeah.
But there is sadness, and I have been trying to let myself feel that and acknowledge that. But I also don't like to feel sad.
Yeah.
That's where it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think with, it happens professionally when you get a promotion even. You move on to a different team and then you are always leaving something behind, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
It happens in friendships. And I think sometimes friendships can be one of the most complicated things to say goodbye to because, friendships aren't as cut and dry as a relationship. In theory, you can kind of just like downshift out of a friendship that's not working without having a big conversation. You don't have to have this like line in the sand all the time. You can kind of distance yourself from friendships that aren't feeling right anymore. But even that, you're like, well, why isn't it feeling right anymore? And sometimes you've grown and you've outgrown and you have to let go of those people, but sometimes they're still in your circle.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, well, am I going to go? Because they're going to be there and I don't feel like doing the whole thing.
Yeah. Plus, like you said, like it's a different thing than a relationship. I find my friendships, minus the sex, obviously, but to be sometimes far more intimate than the relationships that I've been in because there's a longevity. There's a sitting with all of you and not having the tension of like, well, I have to support this person because we're in a relationship. It's like, I'm wanting to support. So it's fucking sucks to wake up and realize, oh, we're moving in different directions.
Yeah.
This person that I've loved and have wonderful memories with, but it's just changing. And then I think most of the times it's one-sided that change is coming.
Sure. The other person might not feel it. They're not feeling the misalignment because they might still be on the same trajectory that they were on. And now you've changed things about yourself. You've grown. You have different values. And then they don't they're not feeling it in the same way, except for they may feel some of the rejection or some of the coolness that you're, right?
I guess so. I guess so.
Yeah.
It's,
Have you had experiences where you feel like the other person is totally blind to the change?
Yeah,
Yeah.
most of the time,
Yeah.
all throughout my life.
Yeah.
And a lot of what I've been, and I'm a good friend. I'm not a perfect friend, but I try. Like I try to be
Yeah.
loyal, and throughout my life, I just remember people saying like, "Well, you think you're better than me." It always is like that kind of thing. It's
Interesting.
like, no, it's
Yeah.
not that at all.
Yeah.
If anything, I thought we were growing together.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the grief is.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
is like wanting to have somebody walk down this yellow brick road that you think you're just,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you realize they've stopped or they've taken a different path,
Yeah.
and you're just like, oh, holy shit. So
Yeah. It's disorienting.
It's disorienting.
I think sometimes, and there's like a disappointment that you can feel that you're like, oh my God, they took a turn.
Yeah.
And we did not talk about that
No.
turn. And I'm surprised by this.
yeah.
And
Yeah, and just circle back to the, you're better than or whatever. It's like I'm not at all even. That wasn't what I intended to do. And so for you to feel that way is like a bummer, because then that means you're looking at me in a different. It's
sure, but I think that when you are growing, and
this is bridesmaids. If you're growing, then you're changing.
exactly. I don't really think you change it.
But if you're growing,
Great movie. That maybe this feels uncomfortable, but if you are growing, you are leveling up. Yes, you're
Yeah.
growing in different directions,
Yeah.
but I do
Yeah.
wonder if some of the response is, I think when we change or grow or evolve, that you say no to things that you used to say yes to.
Yes.
And that is uncomfortable for people.
Yes.
And
why are you saying no and I'm still saying yes?
yes,
Yeah.
and it is confronting because
Yeah.
we are all mirrors to our friends.
Yeah.
And it is hard to see someone else start to make different choices.
Yeah.
And then to me, it's like they're sort of projecting.
Yeah.
You think you're better than me is actually them saying, I feel less than.
Yeah. Yeah.
That it's the inverse.
Yeah.
And I think we have to be okay with that. Because what are you supposed to do?
You okay with the other person changing, or?
I think you have to be okay. Like if you are the one changing and
Yeah.
you are now saying no to things,
Yeah.
and the other person is reacting negatively, and they have a narrative that you think you're better than me,
Mm-hmm.
and you can know that it's like, well, they are starting to. It's making them uncomfortable that you are different. That's it. All it is. They're responding with to the discomfort. We have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
We have to be okay living in the discomfort of someone's reaction.
Yeah.
You have
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
And
that's what Kelly was saying about saying your truth.
Yeah.
And okay,
And you
yeah.
have there are consequences to
Yeah.
that. Everyone is not going to clap their hands that, even like I think sometimes, and this is the thing with friends is, we do certain activities with them. And let's take smoking, for example. It's like when one person in a group is suddenly decides like they're not smoking anymore, now all the smokers are like,
Yeah.
now I have to look at what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
And, it's like, it's uncomfortable. It puts a spotlight on, and this is any behavior. I'm just using smoking as an example
Yeah.
because some people are giving it up that we know.
Yeah,
And, and we're really proud of them. We're so proud of them. And, but it's like any behavior that you suddenly decide you are not doing because it's not working for me. It forces the people around you
Yeah.
to ask themselves,
Yeah,
is
totally.
this still working for me?
Yeah.
And if it isn't, or
Yeah.
whatever their reaction is, their reaction.
Yeah.
You do you. But we have to but then, okay, so let's play it out further, not with the smoking thing, but just like moving on from the friendship. Whatever that person's reaction is, it's like you're choosing a different path. You're moving in a different direction.
Yeah.
That is not better or worse.
Yeah.
There doesn't have to be a value judgment to it. But there's discomfort for you too,
Yeah.
that you're moving on and that you're like, this doesn't fit anymore. It doesn't feel good to me anymore.
Yeah.
So is it the right, if it feels bad,
Yeah.
is it the right choice?
Yes.
Because everything's supposed to feel good all
Yeah.
the time. And I
Yeah.
think that's where
It doesn't feel good all the time.
doesn't feel good
Feeling
all the
good is
time.
a state of being. It's
Yeah.
not like 24/7.
No.
Yeah. I know, like, with the friendships that I have had to move beyond, I constantly think about them. And I think, not reaching out, or even on some occasions reaching out and having a less than stellar response is just like, I want you to know I still love you. I still want you to, like,
Yeah.
grow and wait, I thought you would be happy for me, and that, yeah, that's we talk we I can't remember who it was, but we talk about that island metaphor.
island.
But
Yeah.
you're on an island, you have your hut built on the island, you know where your water source is, you know where the food is and everything, but then in the distance you see another island and you think, you know what, I think I've outgrown this island.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make a journey for that one.
Yep.
And you swim out. Great metaphor. I'm sorry who I'm stealing this from, but it's so good. You swim out and you get to, the middle of the ocean, and you're like, holy fuck, the water is choppy. I left a hut and a water source and my fire pit and everything back there. And you kind of look back and you can kind of see it glimmering, and you're like, maybe I should go back. And it's like, but that's not what you wanted to do. You wanted to move up, move over, move to the different island, and that journey is uncomfortable in between. But then think about how great it's going to be when you get to that new island.
But the fear is that the other island won't be as good as you thought it was going to be. And that's the thought that you have when you're in the middle of the ocean, treading water. It's harder than you thought it was going to be. And you can still see the flickering lights in the back of the place that you left.
Yeah.
And in order to propel yourself the rest of the way, where does that strength come from? Is it
I think you just have to believe in yourself and trust that one, you have to trust that regardless you're going to be okay.
But I think the other thing that is the hardest to do when you're out treading water in the middle of the ocean and you can see the flickering lights of the place that you left is that you have to continue saying goodbye to it. And that's where, like, to really say goodbye, to have closure, it requires grief is a part of the process.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, when you are in the messy middle and you haven't built your hut on the new island yet, you can romanticize the old island.
Yeah.
You can think, oh no.
Do you know what the definition of grief is?
No.
I was just thinking that maybe it would be good to, like, because I feel like there's probably some sort of wisdom in it.
We should have been prepared for this ahead of time. We apologize. You're going to have to listen to us look up the definition of grief.
Okay, dictionary on Google says deep sorrow, especially that's caused by someone's death.
And that, I think, is why we get caught up and you're like, well, no one died. I mean, that's a phrase that we literally say to people when they are feeling grief about other things. You're like, well, you'll be fine. No one died.
Yeah.
But I think there's value in grieving other pieces of our lives that aren't deaths of other people, but they are deaths of chapters. They are deaths of relationships. They are just something being over is a kind of death.
I see a deep and poignant distress caused by, or as if by, bereavement.
And nobody wants
distress.
distress.
Feels like,
And no one wants to feel that, but it is a part of the process, I think, of moving on. And we do things to avoid that. Like, I know that I have been guilty in the past of the way that I'm going to get over a relationship is to tell myself all the reasons, not just the why it didn't work, but why that person is bad or wrong or an asshole or all the things that they did that I didn't like and how dare they.
Yeah.
But what that does is create distance between me and my grief. So now I'm angry.
Yeah.
I'm not distressed or
you're just
sad.
prolonging
I have now created a barrier between the actual grief that I need to feel to really move on. And I've been practicing this, and like this is why I do feel good on the other side of this breakup. And it wasn't a long relationship, but it was with someone who I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
And there were things I really, really liked about him, and
It
I
was
liked
the dream of what you thought you were going to be.
Yeah. And it started out so promising. There were so many things that did feel in alignment. And when I knew that it wasn't right, it was there was a sadness to that because I had to let go of the hope. It wasn't like this person was just an asshole and I can just write him off. We just wanted different things. And I have let myself actually feel the sadness of the good things about him, the really good times and great conversations and the chemistry that we had. But it's like, if I really spend too much time thinking about, the good things, that's where the distress comes from, is that this person was like almost it. He's some version of it. But like, and I let myself really, like, after our last conversation, I sat down and I really cried. And I really let myself think about the good stuff and the things I admire about him and like about him that I won't get to experience anymore. And that's where the pain is like, I don't want this to be over. But like, in order to grieve it, that is what I had to do.
Yeah.
And I noticed that like when I start to feel sad again, I start listing off the reasons why we were not in alignment.
Versus just being sad.
Just being sad.
Yeah.
I hate being sad.
Yeah.
I hate it. But having done that and like letting myself like feel the sadness, and one thing about like negative emotions, I've always feared is that they were like, my visual of like sadness or depression is that it's an abyss. It's a hole that you fall into, and like, don't let yourself fall in the hole, because how are you going to pull yourself out of it? And I remember the first time I really, really let myself grieve a relationship, and I got through it, and I realized that grief is not a hole. It's not an abyss, but it's a tunnel. And it's a tunnel you walk through, and a tunnel you walk through is not as scary as a deep, dark abyss that you can't even imagine where the bottom is.
Sure.
And once I let myself do that, that was eye-opening for me. It was like, but I have to say, once I walked through that tunnel and like let myself feel that feeling, it was again at the end of another relationship several years ago. I grieved that one. And on the other side of that fucking tunnel, I was like, oh no, I never grieved my marriage ending. And I had to go through that one, and that was a longer tunnel.
What does what does the act of grieving look like?
For me, it is tears, and it is sadness, and it is really going inward. And it's reminiscing. And that's the part that I don't like to do. Is I don't want to reminisce about the good times. I want to stay. I am so future focused, forward motion, keep it moving. That is the speed at which I live my life. It's like, I don't really look back that much. I don't think of myself as like a sentimental person. I know I've had great times. I like to look back at like fun photos and think about, vacations and all the times I laughed, but to look back at things that you'll never get to experience again with people who are no longer in your life, it's like it's tender. It's a tender feeling, and it makes me feel vulnerable, and we know how I feel about that. It makes me feel exposed.
Yeah. I'm like, as we're having this conversation, I'm just trying to remember or think about how I grieve, and I think I do a lot of front loading of grief, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Sometimes before the thing happens.
Sure.
almost as my
In
way
preparation.
to be able to justify is not the word, but
To get yourself to what you know you need to do.
yeah.
Yep. I relate to that a lot. I thought I had done that before I got divorced. By the time, because I was in such turmoil about the decision for so long, I wasn't sure if this was the right thing to do. And that was the worst, like the not knowing.
Yeah.
And I thought that by the time, this was the story I told myself, is by the time we got divorced, I'd already grieved the end of the marriage.
Yeah.
And so it made sense that I would jump right into another relationship for 2.5 years. And that's the relationship where once that one ended and I let myself grieve that, I had not actually front loaded the grief on the divorce. It was still there. And I had to and years later, it was years later that I was like finally really, but yes, I understand. I know that feeling of like, I've already kind of said goodbye to this person, even though we still share a home.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was true for me.
I mean, yeah. Now I'm gonna have to be like way more. I have to go through my Rolodex and also like God forbid something else happens, which probably will. That's just life.
That is life.
Yeah, I think some situations I front loaded it. Other situation, which got me to the place of realizing like, oh, this needs to be done.
Yep.
Other situations, the grief is ongoing, especially with like social media, and like you said, you might run into people. People are just in front of you all the time, and you see people making new memories and you're grieving the memories that you thought you would be making with them.
Yep.
So does grief really ever end?
I think that I think you can work through it. I think that you can feel truly like over a situation and then be able to look back on it fondly. Like I think with like time and forgiveness, and sometimes that forgiveness is like for yourself.
Yeah. Oprah has a really good saying about forgiveness. It's giving up on the hope that what happened could have been any different.
Yes.
Because that's really what you're holding on to is
Yes.
like, I thought this was going to be different. I thought this was going to be different.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's like, is hard to grieve. And I think sometimes when you have like these short relationships or ones that are like almost there, they can be harder to like actually grieve because you're like grieving something that didn't even happen. You're
Yeah.
like grieving the hope of the future you might have had. And hope is a scary thing because you've imagined a whole fantasy version of how it might have gone. And in that fantasy version,
that wasn't part of,
and that isn't actually like who you were with.
No.
It's not who you were when you were with them. And it is complicated. But I think the more that you can, because I think grief is a way of honoring what was.
Yeah.
Really, and it's...
Yeah, and that's why it hurts so much.
I think so. Another quote, who I do not know who said this, but it's like, grief is love that no longer has a place to go. Mm-hmm. And then when you're like, oh no, that to me is sadness. Where like, and just to continue my little tunnel journey that I was on, after I processed the grief of my marriage ending, on the other side of that shit, I had not processed my grandmother dying, and I did not know that. My grandmother was the love of my life. Mm-hmm. She died when I was in my early 20s. I gave the eulogy at her funeral, and it was tears and laughter. I was very proud of it. But I think I actually was using humor, even in that moment, as a way to stay distant from, my heart is broken.
Yeah. In the same way that you justify by villainizing the other person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think we do these things as defensive tactics.
Yeah. God, our brains are tricky.
Totally. I mean, I'm like visiting myself at 22, standing on that podium, and like, I know the joke that I told, and it was a way to keep myself together because, I know. But it's scary it's like I don't want to go back and know that I'm never going to have that again.
Yeah, yeah.
And when someone's really important to you, it is hard. It's like, I want to be face forward. I don't want to think about all the experiences that they are not there for. I'm so surprised at how this is sneaking up on me right now. But it's the grief. And I think it's still there because I still don't want to process it fully.
Yeah.
I still don't want to, like, I really feel like I have processed my divorce and the relationship that came right after that. And I think I told you this, that there was a party in September where they were both there. And I was like, oh my God, it is unfair to see your ex-husband and your ex-boyfriend in one room, especially if you haven't seen them for years.
Right.
And you're like, I'd love to introduce the two of you. It actually was fine because I had grieved both of those relationships, and I really just like have warm feelings, and there is no hope that remains in me that our relationships could have ended differently or that we would still be together and that would be better. And I think that for me is like, that is where the grief was helpful in moving me past that. I no longer look back on either of those relationships as with anything other than that was a time in my life and I really loved them. I felt really loved by them. And that, like, great. Like, that's nice to have relationships in your rear view where I feel good about them. But it's because I grieved them. And apparently I still need to grieve my Nana more.
Yeah.
Because that one is still painful.
Yeah.
To go there.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting car ride home. Because I'm realizing how easy it is to just, the hope of it all.
And I think that's what you are.
Yeah. Hope's a really powerful drug. It also controversially doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, having faith comes from a bit of a knowing. Hope is a bit more nebulous and just
It's sort of fantasy.
And fantasy.
Yeah.
And that's hard to break that and process that.
Yeah, how do you process a fantasy?
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
What do you feel like you need to...
I just, I have abandonment issues and, the thought of losing friendships, especially, as I've been in California for 16 years, like this is where I built my family, in the absence of a whatever, husband and kids or something like that. My family are my friends and whatnot. And so the friendships that I have had to move past, I do struggle a lot with thinking about them, thinking about how things could have been. Was I too such and such? Like, it always comes back on me. I was, and I'm just, I think just having this realization of like, yeah, it really was about hoping that things were going to be different, but then there's no substance to hope. And so I don't know that it's not empowering. It feels, I don't know, there's no sense of control or real ability to change something other than myself. And if the other person's not going to change and I can't force them to change, then that fantasy is just completely gone. And that's just hard to let go of that.
It is. But if you, hold it in your mind of like, okay, I thought it would be one way. You don't even say, I hoped it would be one. But here is where I am. And acknowledging of like, here is where I am. Mm-hmm. And I am on a path that feels right to me. Mm-hmm. And if you keep going back to who you know yourself to be, the things that are important to you, your values.
Yeah.
And like if you can hold those two things together, what does that feel like?
I mean, I think there's, in the same way that I thought I needed to end this, or maybe didn't actively think it needed to end, but I think there is a knowing mm-hmm. in my gut within me that is my higher self that is making the right decision.
Yeah.
But my 3D self is like, well, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
You don't want to be abandoned. You don't want to abandon people. You don't want to. Yeah.
Do you ever use a different word
than
abandonment or abandoning? Like, is moving on a rejection?
Yeah.
Always.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's necessarily. Let's take the smoking for example. If I'm moving on from smoking, then I'm rejecting cigarettes, or the social aspect, or the bonding over this taboo thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So you are rejecting something.
Sure.
It's not necessarily negative.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on is a bit of a rejection
of the way that things were.
Of the way that things were.
Yeah. But language is really important. It is. And like even from the nuance of like how a word sounds, it like makes you feel different things. Mm-hmm. And
what would you say other than abandon?
Or rejection?
Mm-hmm.
I want to flip it and make it, as opposed to turning your back, which is rejection. Mm-hmm. Like if there's a visual for rejection, it's like I'm turning my back, but you are turning toward something else. It is the same motion, mm-hmm. but it's where the emphasis is. Mm. And it's like where your brain goes. And I'm pushing on the abandon and the rejection because those are negative words. Mm-hmm. To turn your back on something is a negative. But it is the same as being open, chest forward, to a different way. Yeah. Forward is the light. Mm-hmm. And I think that if you could experiment with it not being a negative thing, and sure, you can say rejection isn't negative, but it is. That word is a negative word, and words hold power. Yeah. And so that's where I want to push you to like. Try to experiment with like, let's find a different word that like actually feels true. Yeah. To you're turning toward something else. You're not turning away from. Mm. So instead of turning away from cigarettes, maybe you are turning toward greater lung capacity. Mm. You are a cyclist. Mm. You like to dance. You do things that are physical. You want to be able to do those things as long as possible with as much energy as possible, mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. And so maybe lung capacity isn't like the sexiest thing that you're turning toward, but I would encourage you to like think about it that way. Mm-hmm. Because
from a metaphor standpoint, or just to be clear.
Right. It's just hypothetical that someone's quitting cigarettes. But I think that we don't realize the power that words have, that, and it's really important, like the tone. Rejection has a negative tone. It almost makes you feel like you're missing out on something. And so it's more about the language of expansion, and you are gaining something. It feels like, I think when you quit things, it feels like you're having less of something. And yes, you are having less of this thing, so you can have more of this other thing. Yeah.
I mean, all of it makes sense. It also, that all makes sense. But it also circles back to Yeah, there's power in words.
And I think that point of view is what determines your next move.
Yeah. I have some stuff to dig
We
into.
all do. Oh my God. I mean, it is like, I have tried to like reframe the like, ending of something as, okay, that is over.
Yeah.
So there's excitement in not knowing what's next.
Yeah.
But you could stay in the place of the thing being over and, oh my God, now I have to start over. Ugh.
Yeah.
That is daunting, but that's a different energy. Same glass, full the same amount, but getting to
Yeah.
like the possibility is exciting, and not knowing what's next or who is next, or like getting to throw myself into new situations and take risks. And like the one thing, it's like when you let go of something, whether it's a job or a friendship or a partnership, you kind of knew what those days with those people looked like.
Mm-hmm.
You knew what your days in the office looked like. You knew what those meetings felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And, they say, it's like, well, the devil you know better
Yeah.
than the devil you don't.
Yeah, yeah.
That's never true. It's almost never true. But you can
Yeah.
get caught up in the what's safe here because I know what this thing is. But knowing what this thing is, it's like, well, you also know that thing does not work.
Yeah.
But there's safety in staying.
Mm-hmm.
But there's fear, I think, about going the other way. But we've talked about anxiety and excitement are the same physiological
Yep.
thing.
Yeah.
But it's how you label it. Again, words.
Yeah.
Am I calling this anxiety or am I calling this excitement?
Yeah.
It's the same physiological process, but what are you labeling it? That's powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm good at when it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
I very much am because I go to my limit.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've got to that limit until it's done. And then it's like, oh my God. I think that's for me why, yes, I do this grieving, there's some front loading of the grieving, but I don't realize that I'm doing that. Mm-hmm. I think I'm starting to realize, things aren't matching or, whatever. And so then you say something wrong or, whatever, it's the nail in the coffin. And then it is so severe that then that for me feels like a real rejection or just a
door closing.
A door closing.
Yeah.
And I don't think I think of it. I think I'm realizing I don't think I think of it as me turning forward. It's me turning my back on somebody.
Yeah. But then
and that feels terrible.
Right. Then you feel like you're doing the abandoning and you know how bad that feels and you don't want to be a person who does that to someone else. But you know that letting go of a relationship that isn't working is the kindest thing you can do for the other person as well as you. It may not feel like it in the moment, but I'm turning toward a different life. Mm-hmm. That life doesn't include this person. Mm-hmm. We can go the rejection way, but to stay with someone where you are not aligned, where it is a struggle all the time, you're pushing against different expectations and the way that you want to live. And, is it not the worst feeling to be in the wrong relationship?
It's
to
terrible.
Both of you.
Terrible.
One person can't be having a great time in a relationship if somebody else is not. Both people are unhappy.
Yeah.
Unless you're dating a real dum-dum.
Well, or narcissist, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it might be going great for them.
Yeah.
But, I think it's it is for the greater good.
Yeah.
To exit.
Wow, I gotta call Dr. Mark tomorrow. Good thing we're meeting. Yeah, okay.
That's my challenge to
Didn't
you.
think that I was going to go into this. Really.
You're like, no, I love the idea of grief of change. Let's do it.
Yeah. I think well, like we talked about, it's just the paradigm shift of looking forward versus. But I also want to, I want to bring everybody with me. But that's not everybody's journey. And
it's not everybody's journey. We don't get to dictate other people's.
Yeah.
And
God, the grief of change.
We could maybe do a follow-up episode. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're on the other side of the grief from...
We'll see. I think that's the other thing about grief sometimes is you think you're good and over it, and just like what just happened with thinking about my grandmother, there's still like a little... There will be something, I'm sure, it might hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Like I told you, he unfollowed the podcast on Instagram, and it really hurt my heart. And it felt like he had not unfollowed me, but he had unfollowed the podcast, and that felt like rejection. It hurt my feelings.
I mean, it was petty, but
I totally understand why you would not want to see my dumb face on your feed.
But the day after.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And little things like that. Like you can think you're over it or you're whatever, but they are still living their lives out there. And that's why I think it is hard to grieve relationships with people who are still alive and jobs and things that like it is still the parallel life is
the potential for that fantasy is still around, whereas nobody's going to come back from the dead,
right,
except for allegedly Jesus. Allegedly.
And I think that's hard, because there'll be those little things, and it's like you still have the hope that maybe they'll come to their senses, realize you were the best person they've ever been with, and they're going to realign their whole life to match yours. Like that's the crazy hope that I think comes with at the end of relationships and the ends of things, is that like the other person that you're moving on from is going to be like, wait a second, I couldn't possibly. And this, it's the same feeling of like, God, like, why do you not want to like continue your journey with me? I'm going on an amazing journey, but now I just kind of have the feeling of like, I do know I'm the prize. I do know what kind of path I'm on, and if someone is not aligned with that path, I'm like, that is kind of a bummer for you, dude.
Totally.
What can I do about that? So I grieved it.
And you still came out feeling like the prize.
Even more like.
Yeah.
If I had stayed, would have diminished me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So?
Well, then I wonder if I'm diminishing myself by holding on to that grief, or not, or thinking of it as
a negative thing.
A negative, yeah. All right, well, I'll have an update for y'all.
We'll see how Alex is doing with his grief processing.
Yeah.
All right. I would love to know what other people are grieving and what they've struggled to grieve with. Like, we want to hear from you guys, and please feel free to share with us anytime we post on Instagram or
Slide
TikTok.
into those DMs.
We love a DM.
Yeah.
I love a DM from a stranger. No, I don't. I don't know why I'm even saying that. They're just really attractive.
Yeah.
Like, and now I'm single, guys. So, cut this part.
No, absolutely not. No, it was great looking into the camera, engaging with the audience, and we're both single, so.
Yeah, hit us with your grief.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's probably a good place to end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, hit us with your grief. Slide into our DMs on Instagram at youaretheprize_pod. On TikTok, youarethePrizePod. You can also visit us at youaretheprizepod.com, and we will see you next week. Thank you. Thanks for joining us on another episode of You Are the Prize. Until next time,
go do something that feels like you.
And we hope that means liking and subscribing. Find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
And don't forget to check out our other episodes wherever you get your podcasts.
This has been a Studio Stab production in collaboration with the Champ Effect and Alt Entertainment. Original music by Scott Martin.